kayang magiliw, perlas ng silangalan, alab ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, dulad ka ng magiting, sa manlulupig. Di ka pasisiid sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mong bugaw. May diladang tula at awit sa paglayang minakamahal. Ang kislap ng watawat mo'y tagumpay na naglilining. Ang bituin at araw niya kailan pa may di magdidilim. Lupa ng araw ng walhati pagsinta.
Buhay langit sa piling mo.
Buhay langit sa piling mo. Aming ligaya na pag may mga api ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
The presence of the Lord first in the center of our being, or of our being in our heart. Let us also feel His presence in our midst, the person next to us. God our Father, thank you for this new day. And as we acknowledge this new day, we acknowledge your goodness, your power, your power, and your authority over all the earth. Thank you for the life you have given to each one of us, and thank you also for this opportunity, the last day of our conference. Thank you also for all the people you have gathered together that is helping each of us to be empowered, and as we are empowered in this alternative or the power of natural healing, may we be your effective instrument in touching people's lives and saving lives. These and all other prayers, good hearts, desires we have for one another and the people you will entrust to us. All of this we ask through Christ our Lord.
Amen.
Thank you, Father. Thank you po. Pwede na po tayo maupo. Our speaker for today, hindi na po natin kailangan ng madaming introduction. Ano po, kilala na natin siya. Ang ating Vice President, dating Director General din ng PITA, no other than Sir Jaime de Liacco. Let's give him a round of applause.
Good morning, everyone. You know, before the day ends, Mr. Prague, okay, it's usually happens that way. The only problem with those who come late is the muscle testing workshop is like algebra. If you don't catch the fundamentals at the beginning, the rest of the day will be difficult to understand or to follow. But never mind, we have with us Dr. Jaime who will help to validate your muscle testing findings and who can explain the fundamentals to those who come in. So, what is muscle testing? Muscle testing is the only device I know. I haven't heard of anything else where you are able to talk to your own brain, you are able to talk to somebody else's brain, no matter how far away they are. That is why I have patients in Africa, in India, in Australia, in Singapore, in Portugal, in Italy, in the US, of course, in Taiwan, and even in China. So let's see, what is muscle testing? You know, the Earth is one big magnet. The North Pole is positive. The South Pole is negative. And there is always a biomagnetic electrical current flowing from north to south all the time. So you can read the compass at sea, you can read the compass right here in this room. We are little magnets. Our head has a positive polarity like the North Pole, and our feet has a negative polarity like the South Pole. And there is a biomagnetic electrical current flowing from our head to our feet, up and down. So we have actually 4 circulations in our body. The first one is the blood. You're all familiar with that. And the pump is the heart that moves the blood. And the second is the lymphatic system, which has no pump. It just lies dormant. But you've got to make it circulate. What makes it circulate is any movement that you do, walking, or, and in fact, there are alternative physicians who do what they call lymphatic drainage. They have a long pole with a bulb at one end, and like a magic wand, they make it go back and forth over you to move the lymphatic system. The problem is 5 years ago, I don't know, I'm not up to date. Every time they do that, it costs you 1,000 pesos. But you can move the lymphatic system by yourself. If you cannot move around, just do this with both arms. 10 times, 3 times a day. Or if you're really bedridden, just do deep breathing. It will move the lymphatic system. But it's important that you move the lymphatic system. And the third, you already know about the energy circulation. The Chinese have this yin and yang and so on. And there is energy healing. And the fourth is the biomagnetic electrical circulation. We are electrical beings. Our basic component is the atom. And that's made of what? Neurons, protons, electrons. It's electrical. That is why you can get an EKG, an ECG, when you are in a real bad situation and go to the ICU. What do? They connect you to electrical machines, which tell everything that's going on inside your body, in the brain, your pulse, your blood pressure, it's all electrical. Okay. The only problem with the tests, the blood tests, the machines, the MRI, the PET scan, the CT scan, the margin of error is very big. That is why I told you during the seminar on the first day that my son, whom I sent to medical school in the US, said they were all shocked to learn that with all the high-tech machines in the US and all the sophisticated laboratories, 50% of diagnosis is wrong. In the Philippines, WHO says that 55% is wrong. You cannot rely, but you become, unless you know muscle testing, you become captive to all these tests. So you'll be put through a battery of tests. You're feeling very bad, battery of tests, and then you're told, oh, everything is normal. How can it be normal? It's like what happened to Dr. Conrado Dairit. He had very high fever. He was confined for 1 month in a top 5-star hospital here. They did all kinds of tests. They're testing him almost every day. And they were telling him everything is normal. But the family said, how can it be normal? Our father has very high fever. He's confined here in your hospital. How can it be normal? So they finally called me. And I went. And in muscle testing, I found exactly what he had. Because his brain told me. I don't know, but his brain does. Your brain knows everything that's going on inside you. It's not just the conscious brain. You heard one of the speakers, the lady from Malaysia, who was talking about yoga and so on. She was saying it's not just the conscious brain, you have the subconscious brain, but you also have the intuitive brain. You don't know what your respiratory rate is, But your brain does, because it's the brain that sets the respiratory rate. So, okay. How do we talk to our brain? You know, you will learn muscle testing by the end of this day. You will know muscle testing. It will change your life. I can tell you, it will make your life much more interesting, much more exciting, because you can muscle test anything and everything. Before you buy anything, you muscle test it and just simply say, this is good for me. Your brain will respond yes or no. If it responds yes, buy it. If it responds no, don't buy it. Okay. First, we must check the polarity of our heads. The polarity has to be positive. If it is negative, you will get wrong answers. How do you check the polarity? You know, out there, okay, this will be your manual. How to use muscle testing in your practice. It was written by Dr. James Overman, my mentor, whom I brought here for 3 years, and whom the Department of Health sent out, for whom the Department of Health sent out a departmental order to all its doctors to attend his workshops on muscle testing. And here, you will find very interesting, the opening page is a prayer. You know, I've told you in my seminars that in natural healing, the first fundamental principle is that all healing comes from the Holy Spirit without exception. So it begins with a prayer. It says, Health Consultant's Prayer. Dear Father, your wisdom, power, and majesty overwhelm me. Your love and grace comfort me in your warm embrace. And here's this important thing, the second paragraph. Fill me with your Holy Spirit, that I might walk in the footsteps of your perfect Son, Jesus Christ. And then at the end, I won't read it all. You can, when you have your own copy. Use me to increase your righteousness in the earth, in the name of Jesus, my Lord. Amen. Why do I mention this prayer? Because in the beginning, when I was doing muscle testing, I was getting all wrong answers. And I was saying, how come? Mechanically, I was doing the right thing. How come I'm getting wrong answers? So I called long distance, Dr. Overman. I said, what am I doing wrong? He just had one little question. Have you prayed to the Holy Spirit? I said, oh, oh, I haven't. So I did. And lo and behold, the very next day, I was getting the right answers. You have to do that. All healing comes from the Holy Spirit. Okay. And how do you pray? In terms of muscle testing, come, O Holy Spirit, fill me, bless me so I can find the truth. Help me to find the truth with this individual I'm muscle testing or with myself. Okay. So now, how do we find the truth? Your head must be positive like the North Pole. How do you check your head to be positive? In this book, we have illustrations of how to do it by extending your hand. Don't do this, okay? Just listen to me and look at me. But the book says you extend your hand like this, and you make a declarative statement. For example, I make a declarative statement. I say, my name is Liacco. My brain will answer yes or no. If it is yes, the muscles strengthen. If it is no, the muscles weaken. That is why it's called muscle testing. It is very different from the pulsing that the Chinese do. The Chinese try to do it by feeling your pulse. No, we are actually tapping into your brain. So, if it is yes,
Ha? Mike? Ano parang to yan?
I will not be able
Alisin ko.
to push this down. This will strengthen. I will not be able to push it down. If it is no, even with a little finger, this will come down. Okay. So, our head, if it is positive, the palm of our hand is negative, and the back side is positive. So if you put the palm on top of your head, it will be negative on positive. Your muscles will strengthen. You know, in high school physics, we see that if you have two negatives, they will repel each other. If you have two positives, they will repel each other. But if they have a negative and a positive, they will attract each other. So when you do this, and if your head is positive, you will not be able to push this down. This will strengthen. Now, you reverse it. So that you put the back of your hand to the head, it will now be positive against positive. This will weaken because they will repel each other and push it down. However, I told you I don't like doing this because, like I'm out. I can do this in the privacy of my bedroom, but what about if I'm in public? I cannot be going around doing like this. So here's what I do. There are many ways of doing it, but this is what I do. Because I can do it with my hand in my pocket, and nobody will ever know what I'm doing. I put my thumb underneath the forefinger, like this, starting here with the second knuckle of the forefinger, and then I push it. I just keep pushing, sliding it underneath the forefinger. If it is true or yes, without my willing it, this will automatically stop at the tip of the forefinger. If it is false or no, this will continue sliding until the first knuckle of the thumb. No need to put pressure, you just do it. And it will stop automatically. Or it will slide and continue to go until the first knuckle. Now, okay, let's try it. Put your left hand if you're right-handed, or your right hand if you're left-handed, on top of your head. With the other hand, push your thumb underneath the forefinger and see if it stops. You don't even have to look at it. See if it stops, and when it stops, look. Where does it stop? At the tip of the forefinger, in which case your head has a positive polarity. If it slides all the way, your head has a negative polarity. Did it stop? It did. Good. Did it stop? Anybody has a negative polarity? Anybody? It didn't stop? It didn't stop. When you have a negative polarity on the head, you must reverse it to make it positive. How can you reverse it if you have a negative polarity? If there's somebody with you, you have him slap you on the back 5 times. In the upper central part of the back, hard, 5 times. Ping, come forward. Like this. Now, check your head again. It's now positive. Good. Now, supposing you're alone, there's nobody to slap you on the back. Anybody else here has a negative polarity? Only you? Nobody else. Okay, if you're alone by yourself, here's how you reverse it. You beat your chest like Tarzan, and you yell like Tarzan. Like this. Ah. Now look, now I have become negative. My thumb is now sliding all the way to the first knuckle. But that's no good. I must reverse myself back to being positive. Okay. So I do it again. Ah. Now I'm again positive. Our guest from Malaysia just came in. If you don't mind, I'll just do a very quick explanation. Otherwise, you will not be able to pass the rest of the day. What's going on? What we're doing with muscle testing is we're tapping into our brain waves. But to be able to do that, your head must have a positive polarity, just like the North Pole, and your feet a negative polarity, because there's a biomagnetic electrical current flowing from north to south. That's why you can read a compass at sea, you can read a compass here in this room. Now, you have to make sure your head is positive, like the North Pole, your feet are negative, like the South Pole. How do you find out if your head is really positive, like the North Pole? You put your palm on top of your head. The palm is negative. So, if the head is positive, the palm is negative, they will bond. It will be a strong bond. The back of the hand is positive, like the head. So if you do it like this, it will be positive against positive, the muscles will weaken. If it is like this, the muscles will strengthen because it's negative against positive. And if it's positive against positive, the muscles will weaken. Okay? How do you know that it's weakening or strengthening? I was just explaining to them that you put your thumb underneath the forefinger and you let the thumb slide. Push it forward without pressure. If your muscles are strengthening, this will stop at the tip of the forefinger. It will stop by itself. But if your muscles are weakening, this will slide all the way to the first knuckle of the thumb. Okay, let's all try it again. Put your hand on your head and let your thumb slide against your forefinger. Without willing it, it will stop automatically at the tip of the forefinger if your head is positive. If your head is negative, even if you try to stop it, you cannot. It will slide all the way to the first knuckle of the thumb. You got it? Are you positive? Did it stop? It stopped. Can you just check? Nothing forward. I don't have to check. She's so pretty, just not to hold her. Yeah, you're right. You're positive. You really know. How about you? What did you find? Did it stop or no? Yeah, it did. And you? Did it stop? Yeah, it did. Okay, good. So now we are ready for our first exercise. The first exercise, I want you to find your blood pressure. Believe me, this is more accurate than any blood pressure testing machine, including the one with a nurse or a doctor listening with a stethoscope. How do you do it? You don't have to keep putting it there, okay? You already know it's positive. You make a declarative statement. What is blood pressure composed of? Systolic, the upper number, and diastolic, the lower number. The normal range for systolic is 100/70 diastolic, up to 120/80. So we start with the normal bottom range. Say, my systolic pressure is at least 100. Now do this. At least 100. See if it stops. If it stops, it's a true statement. It's at least 100. Did it stop? Anybody here? Did not stop? It went all the way to the first knuckle? All of you, stop at 100?
No. No.
What? You went sliding past 100? You went sliding past the forefinger. Okay. If you get a no, then you start counting down. So you get a no. It's at least 100? No. 90? Still no. 80? Still, yes. It now stops at 80. Then you count up. When the finger sticks, you count up. When it slides, you count down. Now, all of you got a positive response to the 100, right? At least 100. Now you count out. Count up. 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, and so on until it slides. When it slides, your correct systolic is the last number where it's stuck. What are you doing? You don't have to keep doing this. You already know. What did you get? 101. Just 100? Come on, I'll validate. Your systolic pressure is at least 100. 110? No. 100? 101? No. It's really 100. See, you got it right. It's so easy. It's really 100. Now you check your diastolic. You say, my diastolic, again, you start at the normal bottom of the range. My diastolic is at least 70. If it sticks, you count up. 71, 72, 73. If it slides, you count down. 69, 68, 67, until it sticks. Anybody got your blood pressure already? You know, the way to learn this is Jaime and I will validate what your findings are, so you will know whether you're getting it right or not. So when you already have found your blood pressure, don't hesitate. Come forward and I'll validate what you found. Okay. Your systolic is at least 0, 100, 110, no, 110 slides. So I go back to 100, at least 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, it slides. Very good, it's 104. You're correct. And diastolic, what did you find as diastolic? 73? Your diastolic is at least 70, yes, it sticks, at least 70. So I count up, 71, 72, 73, 74, it slides. So it is 73. Now you know how to get your blood pressure. I tell you that is far more accurate than any of these blood pressure taking machines.
110 over 90.
Let me check your blood. Okay. Your systolic pressure is at least 0, 100, 101, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, 110. What did you get for your diastolic? Your diastolic is at least 70, 80, no, 70, 80, no. So no for 80, I start counting down. 79, 79, it sticks already. 79, 78, no. 79, yes. 80, no. It's 79, it's not 90. Okay. What you got is systolic blood. Anybody else? Notice I always check the polarity to be sure that you will get the right answers. You do that every time you check yourself or check somebody else. Your systolic pressure is at least 0, 100, 110, no. It slides at 110, 109, 108, 107, 107. You got 100. You got 110. Well, no. Systolic pressure at least 0, 100, 110, no. 109, no. 108, no. 107. Your diastolic is at least 70. 70, no, 69. Yeah, wait. Have you prayed to the Holy Spirit?
Yes.
You did?
I should do it again.
Did you say, I ask this in Jesus' name? Yeah? Praise God. Your systolic pressure is 0, 100, 110, 20, 30, 40, no, 30, 31, 32. Yeah, you're correct. Your diastolic is at least 70, 75, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 80, 84. What did you get? 80? But listen, that's a high blood pressure. You go look for a waiter. Let me check your stomach pH. Your stomach pH is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It's very alkaline. It's 11. It's full of gas. I tell you what, you get a waiter there to give you 1 teaspoon of rock salt and a glass, 2 glasses, because the glasses here are only 6 ounces. 2 glasses of water. Then, after you've taken that, 5 minutes later, take your blood pressure again. Okay? And come back to us so we'll find out what happened to you. Anybody else? your systolic pressure is at least 0, 100. Oh, correct, 100. Diastolic is at least 70, so 100 over 70.
You told us how to get our polarity. My question is, could you correct your polarity by earthing or grounding?
By what?
Earthing or grounding barefoot in the ground.
I have never tried it. Why don't you try it and let me know?
Because we heard, I think it's ground negative.
No, that's a good thought. You try it. But that means you have to take your shoes off, you have to go out. Why don't you just yell like Tarzan? Yeah, it's okay, it's positive. So, anybody else? If nobody else, we'll move to the next exercise. You're all getting your things right? No doubts? Okay, the next exercise. I am beginning to concentrate first on the cardiovascular system. So, we've got in your blood pressure. Let's get your cardiac output, the output of blood from the heart. The correct output is 100%. So you say, my cardiac output is at least, I always start at the bottom of the normal range or at 0 because it's always true. So long as you say at least. So my cardiac output is at least 0%, yes. Then I count up. 10%, yes. 20%, yes. 30%, yes. 40, yes. 50, yes. 60, yes. 70, yes. 80, yes. 90, yes. 100, yes. 110, no. 101, no. 100. So my cardiac output is 100%. Let's see what yours is. While you're doing that, I'll just go out for a minute and get what I want to give you, the normal ranges for all of these exercises we're doing. Anybody got below 100?
Question.
I got greater than 100. How can you greater than 100?
Can you come forward, please? We can't hear you.
I said, how can you have greater than 100?
How do you what?
Have greater than 100.
Virtually, no. Only this one.
Yeah, I understand. So obviously it was done wrong, right?
Yeah. Okay, anybody get below 100? You got below 100? What? 97? Oh, that's not so bad. Come on, let me check. Your cardiac output is at least 0%, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, no. 99, no. 98, no. 97, yeah, 97. You're right. Come forward.
My question was, if it is a slip past the notice, it is a yes, is it?
Yes. So it can go a little bit forward, beyond the tip of the forefinger, but if it doesn't go to the first knuckle, it's a yes. Yes? You have a question? We can't hear. Is what? 30%. Jenny, could you validate her? Jenny is a board certified medical doctor, and she has become very proficient in muscle testing. What? We can't hear. 50%. What did you find? 30? Can you come forward and now see if both of you are right or wrong? Your cardiac output is at 0%, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. It's 50, Jenny. Oh yeah, should be 100%. Anybody else? Before I tell you what to do to take it up to 100%, I want to see if anybody else is below 100. You are? What? Your cardiac output is at 0%, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 60. It's only 60%. Anybody else below 100? Your cardiac output is at 0%. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. Very good. You're correct. Very bad because it's below 100. Okay. Anybody else? I want to get first, before we move on, who among you are below 100, because I will show you how to bring it up to 100 in 5 minutes. Your cardiac output is at 0%, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 60. You're very close to what your wife's cardiac output is. Anybody else? Okay, if there's nobody else, Jenny, could you ask the waiter to come in? How many of you, can you raise your hand, at below 100? 1, 2, you also have below? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The lady behind you? 9. Waiter. Could you bring us, please, for 9 people? You have sabah bananas, right? You have sabah bananas in the kitchen? Yan we do. Okay. For 9 people, 2 sabah bananas, 2 raw eggs, half a teaspoon of salt, rock salt, and 6 chilies. You chop it very fine. Okay? For 9 people. Now, let me see this gentleman. What happened after you took the water and salt? Did you muscle test your blood pressure?
Yes, sir.
110 over what?
Systolic pressure, 120.
I'm sorry, can I come forward?
I did not check my diastolic because the sleep time is
Your systolic was
Yes, next 123.
33 down from
32.
132. You see, water and salt will bring it down. Let me just see. Actually, it's not yet 5 minutes, but if it makes it go beyond 5 minutes, it will go well into the normal range. It is systolic, it is 0, 100, 110, 20, 21, 22, 23. Yeah, you're correct, 23. But a little later, we check it over. Huh?
Please check my diastolic.
No, you do it. Check your diastolic. Go ahead. You know, you must learn to take silly. It will save your life, it will prolong your life, it will improve your sex life.
Doctor, how about you? The Tabasco thing.
Yeah, you can use Tabasco. You must test how many teaspoons or tablespoons of Tabasco you will need to normalize your blood pressure, your cardiac output. Yeah. Very often I find you will need at least 100 tablespoons of Tabasco to normalize your blood pressure.
That's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. They cannot eat eggs. Well, first of all, let me just say, statistically, vegetarians have a lower, shorter lifespan than non-vegetarians. It's because they cannot get all the nutrition that the body needs. And I had a breast cancer patient in India who was a total vegetarian, almost to the point of making it her religion. It was very hard to cure her cancer. Very hard. The doctors had given her 2 days to live. The brother flew here immediately, got my cancer protocol booklet, went back to India, showed it to the doctors. The doctor said, forget that will not work. Only synthetic drugs can cure cancer. So they said, well, if that's true, why are you giving our sister 2 days to live? You've been giving her synthetic drugs all this time. Anyway, she still lived. That was in 2010. She lived up to 2013. However, she still died because she absolutely refused to take pancreatic enzymes. Because pancreatic enzymes, whether they're in capsule form or fresh, comes from pigs. She just refused. And there was one man here locally who had cancer in the mouth. He would have gotten well if he had taken the pancreatic enzymes, but he also refused. He was a Taoist. And he said, he told his children, I would rather die than violate my principles by eating meats or derivatives from meat. The children kept trying to persuade him, but he absolutely refused. Well, he died happy because he died according to his religious principles. Are you a total vegetarian? You cannot eat eggs at all? That's too bad. Eggs are the most complete food that God has given us. Why is it the most complete food? Because all the vitamins, the minerals, the amino acids, proteins, the fats that our body needs. Why? Because a little being will grow in that egg and will need all the nutrition it can get. That's why God made the raw eggs the most complete food that you can get. But anyway, I don't want you to do something against your principles. So what can you take instead of raw eggs? To take the seed. In the beginning, I was not using eggs. I was just using the banana. Because the banana softens the burning sensation in the mouth. So there were two 80-year-old ladies in Buntok, Mountain Province, who could no longer see. They had diabetic retinopathy. One had 360 sugar, the other had 320. The one with 360 had swollen eyelids. And both of them said, I cannot see. Because in diabetic retinopathy, the little blood vessels inside the eyeballs leak, and the blood running over the retina blurs the vision. I gave them 12 small red CDs in the right hand with half a teaspoon of salt to make it delicious. And a banana in the left hand, the saba. You know what the saba banana is? No? Well, you will see it. Saba banana. And I said, just put all of these 12 CDs into your mouth, bite the banana, chew them together. They did. They had never taken chili before. But the banana softened the burning sensation. They did. 5 minutes later, and there was a big crowd. Everybody saw it. The one with swollen eyelids, the eyelids were no longer swollen. And both of them said, I can see. Why? Chili not only brings down blood sugar, because it has all the 6 minerals that are needed to prevent or cure diabetes, but chili also stops instantly internal and external bleeding. So in 5 minutes, both said, I can see. I said, sure? He said, yes. How far? Oh, very far. So while everybody is taking their chili, when I say everybody, the 9 people who need to correct their culture output, with the eggs, what you can do is take it with the bananas. Okay? That's also what this Miss Earth candidate in 2009 did. Because she came at noontime. She said, my feet are swollen. I cannot participate in the pageant tonight. I cannot put my feet in my shoes. And our official doctor from Medical City has been giving me 180 antibiotics in the last two weeks. But my feet are getting worse. When I muscle tested, I found she had swollen feet because her cardiac output was way down. It was 10%. Not enough blood supply to the feet. So I called the waiter here in Club Filipino and asked him to bring out the 6 big red chilies, chopped up very fine, and the bananas. But I also asked them to bring out olive oil, extra virgin cold pressed olive oil. I told the lady, put the chopped chilies into a tablespoon, flood it with the oil, just put it in your mouth, swallow it with a glass of water. It will just go down to your stomach in 2 seconds. And you will not feel the burning sensation also. Would you like to do that? Have the olive oil with it? Olive oil is okay, right?
I would like to ask, for those who are not capable of swallowing the seeds, what about if we put it inside the capsule, chop it inside the capsule, then take it inside it? Sure.
Yeah, you can do that. No problem. It will not act as instantly as when you take it directly, because you still have to digest the capsule. But you can do that. Okay, while we are waiting for them to come up with it, let's move on to the next cardiovascular problem. Let's find out if you are anemic or not. You all have your normal ranges now. You will find that the range for red blood cell count for women is 4 to 5.2. For men, it is 4.5 to 5.8. So you start again with the bottom of the normal range. If you're a woman, my red blood cell count is at least, always use the phrase at least 4. Whoops, it slides. You count down. 3.9, 3.8, 3. Until it sticks. If you're a man, you start with my red blood cell count is at least 4.5. If it sticks, you keep counting up. 4.6, 4.5, 7, 4.8, and so on. By the way, if any of you have problems with this method, another method is just to put your, like a ring around each other. If it's true, you cannot pull it apart. If it's false, it will go. You put like a ring, like this. Then you say, my red blood cell count is at least 4.5. See, I cannot pull it apart. 4.6, 4.7, 4.8, 4.9, 5, 5.1, 5.2, 5.3, 5.4, 5.5, 5.6, 5.7, 5.8, 5.9. So I'm at the top of the normal range, 5.8.
But you still have to put your polarity.
No.
No more. Just go.
No, you always check your polarity before you do this or this. But when you're testing, you don't have to keep putting your hand there. Check your polarity before you do the test. Then you can do this, or what Jaime does. Jaime has a very good method. Instead of putting the thumb underneath the forefinger, she puts it on top, beside the forefinger. And she makes the thumb slide on the side like this. If it's true, it will stop at the tip. If it falls off, it's who found that they are anemic? Anybody below the normal range? Oh, that's great. Everybody is not anemic, right? You're all happy with your findings? Okay, let's check your immune system. You know, when you don't have enough water in your body, when the water content drops, the immune system drops with it. Because all the organs are drying up. So, what reflects the immune system is the white blood cell count. It's still part of the cardiovascular system. Your white blood cell count, the range, the normal range is 5 to 10. So you say, My white blood cell count is at least 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Now mine is 10, so I'm at the top of the normal range. How about you? Anybody here has below 5? Are you all in the normal range? What did you find? 5. I'm sorry. 10. Oh, you're normal. Your white blood cell counts at least 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Very good. You know muscle testing now. If nothing else, nobody else is anemic, no one is anemic, we'll move on to the next exercise. Still around the heart, cardiovascular. You now test to see if you have leaking valves in the heart. The heart has 4 valves: tricuspid, mitral or mitral, and pulmonic and aortic. So you just simply say, my heart is free of leaking valves. Yes or no? Your brain will respond yes or no. If you have a cardiac output below 100, there could be several causes. The most common cause is your blood is thick and sticky, does not flow freely because of dehydration. So if you find that your cardiac output is down, you should muscle test for your water content to see if you are dehydrated or not. The normal water content is 75%. So you say, my water is at least, you start at 75. My water is at least 75%. If it sticks, fine. You count up, 76, no. If at 75 it slides, you count down. 70, 60, 50, 40, until it sticks. If you find that you are dehydrated, that is the primary cause of your poor cardiac output. But if you are dehydrated, that means your heart is also dehydrated. The valves in the heart are dehydrated. They have or will shrink. So you then muscle test next. My heart is free of leaking valves. Which means if you have leaking valves, your blood flow will be backflowing. Instead of going straight out, it backflows. So it's very possible when you have a poor cardiac output that you have both of the causes, namely your blood is thick and sticky, does not flow freely, and 2, your blood is backflowing. what are the remedies? If you find that the cause of the poor cardiac output is because your blood is thick and sticky, because you are dehydrated, you then muscle test. To correct my dehydration, I need to drink 1 8-ounce glass of water a day, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so on. Okay? 7, and then when it slides, the number before that is the correct number of glasses you should drink in one day. But you will find that without salt, the body cannot retain water. You drink a lot of water, you'll keep urinating. If you are deficient in salt, so you have to muscle test. I am free of a salt deficiency. Yes, I am free. But how about you? If you find that you are not free of a salt deficiency, you muscle test. My salt is at least 0. If it sticks, you have no salt in your body. You will not be able to retain the water that you are drinking. You then muscle test. I need to take daily at least 1 teaspoon of salt, 2 teaspoons, 3 teaspoons, and so on. Normally I find it doesn't go beyond 3. But with some people, they need as many as 5 teaspoons of salt. But that's very rare. Let me just ask the gentleman again who had high blood pressure. Can you come forward again? Can you check your systolic now? It's down to 120. Your systolic is at 0, 100, 110, 20, no, 19. Close enough, it's now 119. Your diastolic is at 0, 80, yeah, you're okay. No, your blood pressure is perfectly normal. With 1 teaspoon salt and 2 glasses of water. Waiter, wala pa yung saging at saka yung sili? No, wala pa. So the governor has given you an extension of your death sentence. Okay, so we move on. Supposing you find that you have leaking valves in the heart, what do you do? There is a herbal product from America called heart valve. It will repair leaking heart valves. I have found it has a 100% success rate in repairing leaking heart valves. But it's expensive. It costs about 20 pesos per capsule. And you might need anywhere from 9 to 12 capsules daily for at least 2 months.
Sir, can you repeat what's the name of the product?
I'm sorry?
What's the name of the product?
Heart valve. To make it a brand name, the maker took the E out. Heart valve. But there's another product, and we are lucky to have the one who makes it with us here, Dr. Raver. It's called Heart Mender. Heart Mender. So you muscle test. What will repair your leaking heart valves? Will it be the heart valve or the heart mender? If both of them will repair it, you muscle test. With heart valve, I will need at least 1 capsule, 2 capsules, 3, so on, until your finger slides. For at least 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and so on. Then you muscle test. For heart mender, I will need at least 1 capsule, 2 capsules, 3 capsules, and so on. I tell you, it's different for everyone. For some, they might find the heart mender is the best thing to do. For others, they might find it's the heart valve.
Or a herbal product.
Yes, all natural.
Also test.
Yes. No, nothing synthetic. Now, supposing you're very poor, you cannot afford the heart valve or the heart mender. I have found that silly alone together with raw eggs will do it. There was a nun who was a missionary for 25 years in Thailand, in Cambodia. The order brought her back to the Philippines after 25 years to have a heart bypass. Because one of the other things that will cause heart problems is that your arteries are clogged up, so not enough blood is going to the heart. Or two, you have blood clots in the blood vessels. What causes blood clots in the blood vessels? Thick, sticky blood because you're not drinking enough water, not taking salt, not taking bananas. So, we found that she had blood clots in the coronaries. Her coronaries at the same time were blocked by calcified plaques. What causes calcified plaques? You have too much calcium in the blood, and the excess calcium gets deposited on the walls, and they get oxidized into plaques. Why do you have too much calcium in the blood? You're not going out in the sun often enough. So you are deficient in vitamin D, the sunshine vitamin. And when you're deficient in vitamin D, your calcium intake from food, assuming you're not taking Caltrate or any calcium tablets, but the calcium from your food intake cannot get moved out of the blood to the bones. They just keep piling up, building up in the blood. So you get the excess calcium, they get deposited on the walls, they get oxidized into plaques. So the remedies for that, so you have to muscle test. You have to muscle test. In fact, you do it right now. My blood vessels are free of blockages. Yes or no?
Slides, it's the negative.
Well, the statement is my blood vessels are free of blockages. If it slides, it means you have blockages. Because it will be no. You are not free. Who found that they have blockages in the arteries? Okay, muscle test. The blockage is at least 0%, 10%, 20, keep counting until it slides. In conventional medicine, if the blockage reaches 70%, they will already tell you have a heart bypass.
What's that?
If it's 60%, they will tell you have an angioplasty and put a stent in.
Doctor, what do you have as blood thinners, herbal blood thinners? Because plaques is so expensive.
Yes, what is the natural blood thinner? Why does the blood become thick and sticky? Because it's deficient in water. Blood is 94% water. If your water content is consistently only 7%, you'll have thick and sticky blood. The remedy, the natural remedy, drink water. How many glasses? You muscle test. But remember, you cannot hold the water. Your blood cannot hold the water if you don't have salt. So your muscle test, I will also need 1 teaspoon of salt, 2 teaspoons, 2 teaspoons. And that will do it. I was telling you about this nun. She came back here. The order brought her back for a heart bypass. Her order owns hospitals in the Philippines. They own San Juan de Dios Hospital. So they're very conventional. The order is very conventional minded. So she was put under terrific pressure to have a heart bypass. But she kept refusing. To the point where she almost feel I have to leave the order. Because she didn't want to have a heart bypass. She said, as a registered nurse, I know what it will do to me. It will break open the crack, it will break my ribs to be able to get to my heart. And one of our PICA members, Dr. Arturo Estuita, cardiovascular doctor, says, did you not know if you are past the age of 60, during 70, 70% of people who get heart bypasses die. And he says heart bypass is not scientifically documented. It hasn't been put through the so-called gold standard of double-blind randomized placebo-controlled testing. Anyway, she didn't want to have a heart bypass. What did she do? She took red chilies, bananas, raw eggs, because raw eggs energize the heart. The raw eggs are very rich in ATP, adenosine triphosphate, and CO210. These are the fuels that the inner core of its cell, called the mitochondria, burns to energize the cells. So she took 6 raw eggs a day. 6 sabag bananas a day. You know, outside the Philippines, the common banana is equal to 1 sabag banana in potassium, so you could do that. But in the US, what they call the Chiquita banana, or the Dole banana, or the Del Monte banana. So she did that, and she started taking 15 glasses of water a day to thin her blood. So that's what she did, to thin the blood. And she started taking 3 teaspoons of salt. So she walked around all day long with a backpack. When you open the backpack, you will find bottles of tap water, salt, bananas, raw eggs, and red chili peppers. Over the 6-month period, her chest pain kept becoming less and less, until after 6 months there was completely no more pain. She went to Philippine General Hospital for a checkup, and they found her completely normal. Said, you don't need a heart bypass. So if you're very poor and cannot afford the herbal products, red chili peppers, bananas, salt, water, I wish you could take raw eggs because they energize the heart.
Doctor, the eggs that you're going to devastate today, would that be the inseminated eggs?
Fertilized eggs. Yes. You can tell if an egg is fertilized because the shell is thick. It has a nice, clean sound when you crack it. And it cracks cleanly, it doesn't split, the shell doesn't splinter. Yes?
One thing I'd also suggest is for one of the MEA, to get more ATP, oxygen.
Kelly, we can't hear you too well.
To get more oxygen into the body, get more ATP, right? If you can't do eggs for whatever reason, you can use a mushroom cordyceps, right? Cordyceps will give you the ATP. Cordyceps will oxygenate the body. It's good for the heart, kidney, lungs, also. And then it should potentially help.
Yeah, you know what cordyceps are? Yeah, no?
I'm not sure inside the palpitations.
Kelly, could you explain some more what cordyceps? It's a plant, right?
Yeah, it's a parasitic mushroom that grows on the head of the caterpillar that was traditionally found in Tibet, Nepal region, right? Mainly Tibet. But it grows, you find it in the soil, right? It comes out in the spring, like a little spring grass. A little tiny mushroom, about so big. And I find that it looks pretty good, it's anywhere from about 5 to care of most people's issues who aren't oxygenated properly. And if they're not getting enough ATP, if they don't have the energy going from mitochondria, that'll solve the problem for most individuals. So for whatever reason you can't have eggs, because eggs is obviously going to be cheaper than cordyceps, right? But if you can, right, cordyceps I think would be a good alternative.
So you must test cordyceps to see if it will really work for you.
Can I add to that? Cordyceps actually is the mushroom of the Chinese athletes.
I'm sorry, we can't hear you.
It's the mushrooms used by the Chinese athletes. And at the same time, it's good for the lungs. So for lung issues, cordyceps is also good aside from the ATP. So it's being used by the Chinese athletes because of the energy they do get because of the additional ATP and the additional oxygen. That's what I read from researches about cordyceps.
Now, one thing why you are here learning muscle testing, because I read all those things also before, and I just took them at face value. Because how would I know? I didn't do the research, but these claims that this has been studied, this, will do this. So I just took it at face value. But later on I found that put into actual practice, it may not necessarily work until I learned muscle testing. So I'm telling you, fine, you muscle test cordyceps, you muscle test, what was that, mushrooms?
Cordyceps and chaga also.
Yeah? If it will work for you. It's like malunggay. People keep saying malunggay is good for you. You muscle test it to see if it's good for you. I had a muscle testing workshop. When people started muscle testing malunggay, everyone found it's not good for them because it has lead. There's a lot of lead. Okay, so coming back to the heart. You could have a leaking heart valve. You could have an enlarged heart. Because if you have blood backflowing, you have thick, sticky blood that doesn't flow freely, the heart has to work very hard to push that blood out. It's like putting the heart in the gym, lifting weights 24 hours a day. It becomes muscle bound, it becomes enlarged. So you must test your heart. My heart is enlarged, yes or no? If it says yes, if your brain says yes, you must test at least enlarged at least 10%, 20, 30, so you know what's the enlargement. Anybody found that they have an enlarged heart? No one? What percent enlarged? You must test that percent. At least 10%, 20, 30, 40. 10%. Your heart is enlarged? Yes. That is 0%. 10, yes. 11, no. 9, no. Yeah, good, you're correct. It's enlarged 10%. What do you do if you find your heart is enlarged? Again, if you have the money, you can check to see whether this capsule from the US called Heart Decongest will shrink the heart back to its normal size. Or, again, you also check whether heart mender, is it? Heart mender will shrink the heart back to its normal size. Then you can muscle test how many capsules of it. But again, if you don't have the money, red chili labuyo will do it. Why? Because the red chili labuyo, you know what? You know what I mean by red chili labuyo? No? you're familiar with the red chili peppers? It's about 2 inches long or 1 inch long. Yeah? The word labuyo is the local term for meaning it's really very hot. It's red chili peppers. It's cayenne in English. Huh? I'm sorry.
In Malaysia, maybe we call it chili padi.
Chili curry?
That's chili padi.
Yeah. Again, that will do it. Why? Because it does the work of the heart. It allows the heart to rest and heal itself. There was a young boy, he was 4 years old, brought by the parents here to Manila because the doctors wanted to give him open heart surgery to cure 4 congenital defects in the heart. The conventional medical terminology is he had tetralogy of Fallot. But the parents said he's only 4. He might die on the operating table if they break open his chest. That's open heart surgery on him. So they came. They could afford the capsules, but we were out of stock of the capsules. So they went home to Isabela, it's a northern province. They came back 1 month later. The boy was no longer a blue boy. He was now pink. He was running around. I said, okay, how many series did you give him? Just 2 series a day. He's only 4. But it did the job. It allowed his heart to rest and the heart healed itself. So just remember this. Don't be afraid of chilies. It can save your life. It can prolong your life. What else about the heart? Supposing you have atrial fibrillation, you have skipping heartbeats. It's not regular. Or you have palpitations. What do? Well, you check yourself first. What is causing it? If it's palpitations, what would be causing it is thick, sticky blood or backflowing blood. The heart is palpitating very fast to try to push the blood out. But it cannot because the blood is backflowing, the blood is thick and sticky. So the remedy for that is the red chili peppers. It will do the work of the heart. It will allow the blood to flow out 100%. It will stop the palpitation of the heart. And it will stop the palpitation in 5 minutes. But supposing it's not palpitation, supposing it's fibrillation, skipping heartbeats, you can tell, you can feel it. What is the cause of that? You know, there is a little organ to the left side of the heart. It is a natural pacemaker. It sends out electrical signals to the heart to give the heart its heartbeat. Electrical signals. But if that natural pacemaker is dried up because you're not drinking enough water, it will send out erratic signals. It cannot function properly. So that's one cause. The other cause, if that natural pacemaker gets infected with fungus, it will do the same thing. It will also send out erratic signals. You will get atrial fibrillation, you will get skipping heartbeats, irregular heartbeats. So you must test. Why are you getting irregular heartbeats? Is it because your natural pacemaker is... My natural pacemaker is dried up, yes or no? The irregular heartbeats are caused by a dried up natural pacemaker, yes or no? If it says no, you must test. The irregular heartbeats are caused by fungus in the natural pacemaker. yes or no. If it's yes, there is again a herbal product called fungex, which will kill the fungus. That's what an American patient here did. For years, he would have atrial fibrillation, and the drugs could not really remedy it. Through muscle testing, we found that he had fungus in the natural pacemaker. He took the fungex. In a matter of days, 2-3 days, the atrial fibrillation was gone.
Do we take these chilies every day, or only when we feel the discomforts of the diseases?
Either one. Some people want to take it only when they feel that they have a problem. But if you take it every day, your life will be longer. I'm sorry? Hemorrhoids. Hemorrhoids are caused by straining to move out hard fecal waste. It's not caused by spicy foods. It's not caused by the silly. Women who give birth, who have never taken silly in their lives, get hemorrhoids from straining to push the baby out. If you are constipated, you will get hemorrhoids. If you have to hear it, you'll get hemorrhoids. Not only that, you might have a heart attack while seated on the toilet. It has happened to people. It's what happened to my brother.
Doctor, about ulcer?
Huh?
Ulcer.
Ulcer is caused by the H. pylori bacteria. It's not caused by spicy foods. It's not caused by tension. It's not caused by all the things that the medical community have been saying for years. Actually, some 70 years ago, the veterinarians already found the cause of ulcers, the H. pylori bacteria, because the cattle ranchers, they could not fatten their cattle for the market. And the vets were working on it and found they had ulcers. So they were put under a lot of pressure by the cattle ranchers to find the cure for the ulcers. And they found two simple things. They gave the cattle bismuth, which is a very cheap over-the-counter product made by Procter & Gamble in the United States. I think one bottle is only $1 or $1.50. Yeah. And they were giving also an antibiotic together with it. However, the conventional medical doctors refused to accept that. You know, they are always 2 generations behind the times. Because why? It was the lowly vets who found it. And they looked down on the vets. But the alternative physicians immediately took it. And we have been curing ulcers in 2 to 3 days by just simply killing the H. pylori bacteria. And how do we do it? 8 cloves of crushed raw garlic will kill that H. pylori bacteria. You take it 3 times a day. If you cannot get that, if you cannot swallow it, then you take the garlic pills, Garlic Fresh. You must test how many garlic pills you will need to kill the H. pylori bacteria. But there will be a lesion. With some ulcers, there are no lesions, but with some, there are lesions, wounds already in the stomach. So you need to take a herbal product again that will heal the lesions. And what is it called? Guess what? It's called Ulcer Heal. And you must test how many capsules do you need of Ulcer Heal to heal the lesions. You know, ulcers are so easy to cure in natural medicine. What is the Procter & Gamble product for bismuth? It's called Pepto-Bismol. Okay, now we go to the next thing that can give you a cardiovascular problem. Two things that we haven't really discussed fully, and I've touched on it briefly. One is calcified plaques in the arteries. Blockages in the arteries can be caused by three things. One, calcified plaques. What are plaques? They're like powdery cement which has set and solidified. It's like the plaques you get when you go to the dentist and have a general cleaning. And she takes the plaques out from the roots. But except this time, it's in your arteries. So that is the major cause of blockages in the arteries. But the second cause is inflammation of the arterial walls. And in conventional medicine, you find out if you have inflammation through a blood test called the C-reactive protein test. If it's positive, you have inflammation. If it's negative, you don't. And the third cause is blood clots. So you must test yourself. My arteries are free of calcified plaques. Yes or no? And if it's yes, that's fine. If it's no, you have plaques, you must test. The plaques are blocking at least 0% of my arteries, 10, 20, 30, 40. That means it's narrowing the channels. When you narrow the nozzle of a garden hose, your blood pressure shoots up. That will also shoot up your blood pressure. Then you must test for inflammation of the arteries. My arteries are free of inflammation, yes or no? But first, let's go back to the plaques. If you find you do have the plaques, what do you do to remove it? Two things. I think it's becoming cold, isn't it? See people.
I did ask. One.
You have asked them to.
I told them to
Yeah.
come for me.
How come I'm not feeling cold? I take 10 raw eggs a day. And with each cup of 2 eggs, I have red ceiling lagoon. Okay. So, if you have the plaques, two things. One, you must dissolve the existing plaques. Two, you must prevent the formation of new plaques. How do you dissolve existing plaques? I use a herbal product called Super Phos 30. I learned that from Dr. Kelly when he was curing my cancer. That's step number 3. He said you must totally clear your arteries of these plaques so that your blood will be free-flowing and can carry the enzymes wherever there are cancer cells in your body. So I took that 90 drops, 90 drops a day. And during the 6 months I was curing my cancer, I felt so good because my arteries were clear. I was getting a lot of the nutrition that the blood was carrying. I was getting all the oxygen that the blood was carrying. So after I got well from my cancer, I decided I will continue taking this every day for the rest of my life. So I calculated at 1,600 pesos a month, if I live to be 100, it will still cost me a lot less than one angioplasty or one heart bypass. So I've been taking it every day up to now. Super Phos 30, that number 30. You take 90 drops a day, you put it in a sweet fruit juice because it's very sour, like apple juice. In fact, the bottle label says, put the 90 drops in apple juice. You drink it throughout the day. So I do that every day. But now I've made a little twist in the instructions. I put it in my superfood nutritional drink. What is the superfood? It is a powder that contains a lot of vitamins and minerals, all that the body needs, but entirely from food, no synthetic drugs. And it is mixed in with a glass of juiced sweet apples and a glass of tap water, one ripe sweet mango, so it's very sweet. We put this very sour Superfos 30, the taste comes out perfect. So when I drink that mixture, I am getting super nutrition while I am keeping my arteries clear at the same time. So I take them, 2 glasses a day. So that is to take out the plaques from your arteries. Now, how do you prevent forming new plaques? I told you that the calcium buildup in your blood and on the walls is due to the deficiency of vitamin D in your body. So to prevent that, you go out in the sun 30 minutes a day, between 9 to 10, or 3 to 4. But most of us cannot do that. We are busy working, we are tied up, or there's a typhoon, heavy rains. So what I do, since I cannot go out every day, I take cod liver oil. It is very rich in vitamin D. I take 1 tablespoon a day. Now for those of you here in the Philippines who grew up here, you're very familiar with the cod liver oil that your mother used to give you when you were a child, which tasted horrible. Mike, what's the name now?
Oh, the Norwegian?
No. Yeah, Scott's emulsion.
Yes.
Horrible.
Dr. Scott.
Yeah. So I was lucky I found this, it's called Norwegian cod liver oil. It's completely bland. I just take 1 tablespoon a day. It gives me all the vitamin D that I need. It's also very rich in the omega-3 oils, EPA and DHA, which strengthen the heart. Huh? Fish oil. Well, cod liver oil is fish oil. But it has more vitamin D than the normal fish oil. So if you want to use the normal fish oil, you must test how many tablespoons you need a day. My suggestion is don't take the soft gels. Because if you take the soft gels, you will have to drink water with it to swallow it. And oil floats on water. You may not get it fully absorbed into the body. Okay? And if you take the soft gels, 1 tablespoon is equal to around 12 to 14 soft gels. So you have to take 12 to 14 soft gels a day. What about if you have inflammation of the arterial walls? What do you do about that? You must test how deficient are you in vitamin E. And then you must test how many vitamin E's, how many IUs of vitamin E will you need to remove the inflammation of the arteries. Usually it's 1,000 international units a day, and usually it just takes 2 or 3 weeks to do it. But you must test for yourself. Waiter, nasaan na yung ano? Ha? Wala pa? Ha? Ano yan? I'm sorry?
I have a toothache
Right now?
right now.
You must test. My toothache is coming from cavities in the teeth.
Yeah.
Yes or no?
Yes, kasi ano na siya may pasta na.
Then that means if it's cavities in the teeth, do you have dental floss?
Yes, doon sa dulo daw.
Did you try
Matanda
flossing
na
it?
ako eh.
Huh?
Kailangan sa dulo is crack.
The flossing did not do it. It did not.
Eh, muna sa dulo wala.
Because if you have a hole there and it has food in it, food particles, you get a stuck
May pasta siya doon
toothache.
eh.
Huh?
May pasta doon sa dulo.
May pasta na? Okay, then you muscle test whether the pain is coming from the gums. Whether you have weak gums. You muscle test if you have pyorrhea or periodontal disease. Yes or no?
Extraction.
It's what?
Pabubulot na raw.
No, muscle test. Not what the dentist tells you. Come forward.
Yeah.
Your toothache is coming from weak gums? Yes. Your toothache is coming from periodontal disease? Yes. Your toothache is coming from pyorrhea? Yes. Your toothache, the pyorrhea is coming from a deficiency of CO210? Yes. Your CO210 deficiency is at 0%, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 91, 92, 92% deficient in CO210. That's why you have weak gums. Yeah? So you have a choice. You can take the COQ10 of Dr. Raber. One capsule is 250 milligrams. You will need at least one capsule a day, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You need 9 capsules a day, 3 after every meal, for at least 1 week, 1 week, 1 week. 9 capsules, 3 after every week. If you don't have the money for that, raw eggs will... raw eggs are very rich in COQ10.
Well, you're just like my wife. Oh my God. She hates rollers.
Raw eggs will correct your CO210 deficiency and take away the pain in your gums.
Just to take
Yes,
more eggs.
it will strengthen your gums with at least 1 raw egg a day. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 raw eggs a day. Well, you have 3 choices. Take the 9 raw eggs a day for at least 1 week, 2 weeks, 2 weeks. Or, see, it's making her call of now for help. Or you take Dr. Raver's COQ10, you will get this 1 capsule, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1 capsule is equal to 1 raw egg. Yeah? You take that for at least 1 week, 1 week. Yeah. Yeah.
Doctor, I remember when we were kids, we used to mix these raw eggs with sarsaparilla.
That's fine, so long as you get the eggs in. Yeah? The only problem I find now that I know muscle testing, all these soft drinks have parasites. So you're taking the raw egg, you're taking parasites. So you see what you can do with muscle testing? You know, I was having a healing mission in the Mountain Province. I also got very bad toothache. And I muscle tested, it was the gums. Not dental cavities, it was the gums. And I muscle tested, I needed to take 12 raw eggs a day. I took the 12 raw eggs in 1 week, the pain was gone. So it's really up to you. You have choices now. Whether you want to go to the dentist and have the tooth pulled out. Because, anyway, you're telling me that the cavity already has filling. right? Because of filling. So it's not being caused by food particles inside the cavity. Because if you still have that hole and you have had no time to go to the dentist to have it filled up, what can you do? An emergency first aid measure. You chew gum and put the gum right in the hole. It will stop the toothache. I had a broken tooth when I used to work for the Wrigley Company. It's a chewing gum company, the largest chewing gum company in the world. I was one of the international vice presidents. And Mr. Wrigley asked me, can you try this new gum that we are working on? I tried it. It was so hard, it broke my tooth. So he said, well, you go to my dentist. He's a very good dentist at the Northwestern Medical Clinic. I went there and he said, you need a root canal. I said, I'm flying out tomorrow. Oh, come here at 6 o'clock in the morning. I'll be here. I'll give you a root canal. I called my dentist here in Manila. He said, no, don't have a root canal. Come home. I'll fix that for you. But if you fly home with a hole in the tooth or a broken tooth, you'll be in severe pain because of the altitude, flying at 35,000 feet. The nerves will be exposed. So, I chewed gum, plug it into the hole, perfect, no pain at all. When I came here, I went to the dentist, took the gum out, and put in the dental filling. Okay. Now, let's go back to the heart. So now we've checked what you can do, what you must muscle test for. If you have back-flowing blood, if you have leaking heart valves, if you have an enlarged heart, if you have blocked arteries, if you have... How about blood clots? We haven't touched that yet. Supposing you find you have blood clots, I would like you to muscle test, all of you. You say, my blood vessels are free of blood clots, yes or no? And if you find that you have blood clots, you muscle test. I have at least 1 clot, 2 clots, 3 clots, 4 clots, and so on. Anyone find blood clots in their blood vessels? You know, I get all kinds of muscle testing groups. With some groups, they're very open. They don't mind announcing to the world what's wrong with them. But some groups are very secretive, like this group. They don't want others to know what the hell that's wrong with them. So nobody tells me, anybody found blood clots in their arteries? Silence. But anyway, so I'll tell you, if you find that you have blood clots in your arteries, you must test how many clots are there. At least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Why do I like you to measure? So that you can check to see whether you are improving or not. So at the beginning, supposing you find you have 30 blood clots in your arteries, then you must test where are they located. You check first the coronaries. My left coronary is free of clots, yes or no? If it's no, it has at least 1 clot, 2 clots, 3 clots, whatever. Right coronary, the same thing. Then the pulmonary artery, and then the aorta. It has a big blood vessel going from the heart to the rest of the body. And then you go to the arteries behind the head, left vertebral and right vertebral, the arteries in front, left carotid and right carotid. Then you will know exactly where the blood clots are and how many, and what is your risk for a stroke or a heart attack. How do you get those blood clots out? You can dissolve them with 3 products. The first is called natozymes. You must test Natuzymes will dissolve my blood clots. Yes or no? The other product is called clot, C-L-O-T. Clot will dissolve by blood clots. Yes or no? Then you check just how many capsules you will need. But if you have no money, again, you must test. Red chili peppers will dissolve my blood clots. Yes or no? And how many red chili peppers? You guys from Thailand, this should be pretty easy for you. I have seen red chili peppers save people who have had strokes with nothing else but the red chili peppers. One woman in Bontoc was brought to the Bontoc General Hospital after a stroke, could not talk, could not get up, could not walk, could not recognize her husband. The nurse called me. I was up in St. Theodore's Hospital, up the mountain. She said, this woman is not responding for 2 days to the drugs we have been giving her. What do we do? I said, give her 12 red chili peppers. I said, can she still chew? She said, yes. I said, well, I tell you what. You mash the 12 chili peppers into the ripe, soft, saba banana. Mash it there. And give it to her. That banana is so slippery, she just swallow the whole thing. Give it to her every 2 hours, round the clock. The next morning I went down, take a look at this woman. I bent over her bed and I said, good morning. And she said, good morning. She was now talking. Just overnight with the red chili peppers. The drugs could not do it. Next morning I went back and she was already seated on the side of the bed, swinging her legs and eating the Selecta Super Chocolate ice cream. On the third day, I found her. She was now on her feet. She was now doing the mashing of the red chili peppers into the banana. The fourth day, she was now walking around the ward. The fifth day, she was gone. I said, where is she? Oh, we sent her home. She's okay now. Well, learn, like the Thais do. Learn, or like the Bicolanos do, how to take red chili peppers. If you are having a heart attack in process, or a stroke in process, take immediately 10 of the big ones, or 20 of the small ones. Crush it into a cup of hot water if you still have the strength to do it. If you don't have the strength, if somebody is there with you, tell them to do it. And just drink it. It will stop the heart attack. It will stop the stroke in process. This is not theory. I've seen it happen time and again. It will stop it. You didn't know that in Thailand, did you? Well, now you know. You go back and you can put the pharmaceutical drug business out of business. So, any questions about the heart before we move on to diabetes? No more? Everybody is satisfied that they know what to do, how to...
So those were the three causes of the blockages: the calcified plaques, the inflammation.
Inflammation and the blood clots. And the blood clots, the remedy is either natuzymes or clot or red chili peppers. Dr. Rayner, do you have anything for blood clots?
Actually, yeah. There's another part called cardiovascular measure.
The cardiovascular mender?
Yeah, that the experiment's not done. Show that we can start cleaning up the body aggregation in 45 minutes to 2 hours. So that works pretty fast.
Well, you can also muscle test the cardiovascular number.
And then strong ginkgo.
Well, here's how powerful the red chili peppers are. Somebody had a stroke. Very poor. She's only a massage woman. She had a stroke in March this year. In July this year, she came to my house. And she could not walk properly. Two men were with her, holding her on each side. And when she sat down, her hands were trembling like this. I must have tested. I found she still had 30 blood clots in the brain. You know, when you are confronted with a stroke patient, or you yourself get a stroke, you must have test how many blood clots are in the brain, because they are the ones that are causing the paralysis. So she could not walk, her hands were trembling, and I must have tested how many red chili peppers she will need to remove the blood clots from the brain completely. And what did I get? She has to take 12 red chili peppers every 2 hours, 6 times a day. So right then and there, I gave her the 12 chili peppers, of course, with the eggs and the banana. The banana is to prevent you from getting a stomach ache when you take the chilies. Because you get a stomach ache if the stomach is empty or not full enough. So I gave that to her. 5 minutes later, I noticed her hands were not trembling. I said, put your hand out. She put it out. It was straight. No more tremors. I checked through muscle testing how many blood clots remained in the brain. It had dropped from 30 to 15. And so it took out 15 since her tremors had stopped. It means it took out the blood clots that were causing the tremors. Then I must have tested again. When will all the blood clots be gone? Taking the chilies every 2 hours, 6 times a day. It said 2 days. You know, muscle testing can be very precise. It said 2 days. So I told the lady, so you do this, you go home, take it every 2 hours, 6 times a day. I said, then after 2 days, please come back. I want to check you out. After 2 days, she came back alone, walking by herself. And she sat down. She said, I am well. I said, how do you know? I said, no more tremors. I feel very good. And my husband is very surprised and very happy because they already had sex.
Doctor,
Red chili peppers.
how about aneurysm?
Aneurysm, the blood, it bursts, so you're bleeding inside. Red chili peppers stop instantly internal and external bleeding.
If you have symptoms of aneurysm, where they found out I had some swelling from the arterial.
Well, yes. So if you haven't burst yet, anyway, keep taking the red chili peppers as a precaution, just in case it bursts. But we must fix the reason the blood vessels are very thin. That causes the aneurysm, right? They are poor or deficient in collagen. So you have to rebuild the collagen of your capillaries, of your arteries. And how do you do that? You check, you muscle test yourself for a deficiency in vitamin C. Vitamin C stimulates the body's production of collagen. You can also eat Adidas. You know what Adidas is?
Chicken feet.
The chicken feet. In the Philippines, we call it Adidas because Adidas trademark is tree like this. Just the chicken feet is. But take vitamin C. Let me ask Dr. Weber if he has anything for rebuilding the collagen in the blood vessels. you muscle test yourself now. I am free of a vitamin C deficiency. And then check what percent is the deficiency.
I'm free.
You are free?
Yes.
Very good. So, check to see if all your blood vessels, whether the walls are normal or if there are any which are thin.
We're normal now.
So you shouldn't worry anymore about any of this. Okay?
Just to clarify something.
Yes?
You said you have to do this at the beginning, right?
At the beginning.
Why?
To check if your polarity is positive. Because if it's negative, you will get wrong answers. So if your polarity is not positive, you must make it positive. And you were not here when we were illustrating how to do it. Are you positive or negative? Positive. You? And you? Positive? Okay. Let me illustrate anyway. Come over here. This reverses polarity. If you have somebody there with you, have him or her slap you hard on the back, upper central part, 5 times. It will reverse the polarity. Check your polarity. It's now negative. Polarity is now negative? Yes, it's now negative. Okay, we put it back to positive. So I can either do that, my hands are painful now. So you do this. You beat your chest like Tarzan and yell like Tarzan. Okay, try it. Check it. This is positive now. That's the way. You must always recheck your polarity every so often, because especially if you are dehydrated, it keeps changing. And you might be muscle testing yourself and getting alarmed because you're getting very bad answers, but maybe it's because your head has become negative. Before we break for lunch, I'll put in a detour, which will be of interest to everybody. This will make you famous in your neighborhood. If you have a friend or anybody that you know who has a breech baby, all you have to do is slap the mother 5 times on the back. That baby will turn and become normal.
Again, go.
If you know somebody who has a breech baby, namely the feet are down, the head is up, when it should be the reverse, the head should be down.
Yeah.
Why is that? Because the head of the baby is the opposite of the polarity of the mother, so they are attracting each other. That's why the baby's head is up. But if you slap the mother hard on the back 5 times, that will reverse the mother's polarity from the head. It will now be the same as the polarity of the baby's head. They will now repel each other. The baby's head will turn down.
So you stop 5 times?
Huh?
5 times on the back?
Yes. Or let the mother do this, just like what she did. A 7-month pregnant woman came to me. I have a breech baby. I'm scheduled for cesarean. I slapped her 5 times on the back. Then I muscle tested. The baby's head is turning. I muscle tested when will it be in the normal position. 4 weeks from now at 9 o'clock in the morning. How can you find that out? So precise. You just simply say, the baby's head will be in the normal position 1 week from now, yes or no. 2 weeks from now, yes or no. 3 weeks from now, 4 weeks from now. 4 weeks from now, it's ticking. Okay, 4 weeks from now, at 12 midnight, no. 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. At 9 o'clock in the morning, my fingers were sticking. So I told her, 4 weeks from now, 9 o'clock in the morning, you go to your OB-GYN and have an ultrasound taken. 4 weeks later, 11 o'clock in the morning, I remember, I had forgotten. Oh, I called the woman right away. Go to your OB-GYN right now, have an ultrasound taken. Doc, I already did. I was there at 9 o'clock. I said, well, the baby is in the normal position. So that's one case. No, I just slapped her on the back once. Because if you keep repeating it, your polarity will keep going back and forth.
Once only? Once?
Yeah, 5 times. Slap her 5 times on the back. Same thing. Enough for you to complete the yell. The yell is ah. Okay? And you can yell silently. Otherwise, people might think, this girl is crazy. So, what else? A mother calls me, my daughter, her baby is transverse. She's due next week. And she's one of cesarean. I said, send her here right away. When she came, I slapped her 5 times on the back, and she told me, I can feel the baby turning. 3 days later, the mother called, she delivered 3 days later, not 1 week later. And the baby was already in the normal position. But the worst case, in the mountain garden village of Paktil, where the farmers grow vegetables for Baguio, one woman had twins. Twin A was in the right position. Twin B was in the wrong position. I said, my gosh, if I slap her hard on the back, twin B will go down, twin A will go up. I said, look, can you come back tomorrow? Yes, I can. I was thinking I'd call Dr. Overman and ask him, what do I do? Okay, so I went back to the Mount Data Hotel. Turned out they had no signal. I could not call the US. So I had to pray hard to the US. Next day, the woman was there. I slapped her hard on the back. And immediately, I must have tested. Twin A was now going up, twin B was going down. I said, Holy Spirit, what do I do? Slapped her again on the back. I slapped her hard again on the back. You know, twin A went down, twin B kept going down. That was the first time I learned that you can slap and reverse a baby's polarity even though it's inside a mother's. Then I must have tested. I said, get an ultrasound 10 days from now. Because both babies will already be in the normal position. No, I'm due for an ultrasound tomorrow. I said, save your money. Do it 10 days from now. 10 days later, I got a text from Paktil saying, the babies are both in the normal position. That's how precise muscle testing is. But you have to practice daily. Practice on everything. Practice when you're going shopping. You want to choose among the apples that you want to buy? This apple is good for me? Yes. This apple is good for me? Yes. So put them in your basket. This apple is good for me? No. Don't put it in your basket.
Question. How many days will the baby turn completely?
Well, that transverse baby, in 3 days, she became normal. Yeah? With the 7-month-old pregnant mother, it took 4 weeks. With the twins in Paktil, it took 10 days. How will you know? Your muscle test. You know, keep muscle testing. Everything, muscle test. it will, I tell you, it will make your life very exciting. You can muscle test if the people you are dealing with are honest or dishonest. When we hire new people into the household, we muscle test, do they have a sexually transmitted disease? Yes or no? Are they free of tuberculosis? Yes or no? How? You know, to apply, we have them write their names, their age, their address, their contact numbers in black ink. If you cannot hold the person, you can muscle test using a handwriting in black ink. That's why I have patients all around the world. They just send me letters in black ink. You just hold the handwriting as if you're holding the person. So, they submit their names and their particulars, and you muscle test. This person is free of tuberculosis, yes or no? If it's no, we don't hire. No need to go and have an X-ray. Besides, TB is very hard to detect. With X-rays, with sputum tests, with the tests, we call that blood injection to see if there's a reaction. Yeah, tuberculosis test. It may all turn out to be negative, and yet that person has TB. It's very hard to detect TB, one of the hardest. That's why last month there was a Japanese doctor who came here saying, we have a new test in Japan that is more accurate than the existing tests. But you don't need to wait for that test in Japan. You can test it yourself. So what happened? With these 3 new hires that we made, in 2 weeks we were losing a lot of money. So I told Annie out there, give me all the handwriting of everybody. New hires, old hires. This one took the money, no. This one took the money, no. This one took the money, yes. This one made me very sad. She was only 20 and she was very pretty. Her life was ahead of her. We confronted her. Right on the spot, she broke down, took out 20,000 and gave it back. We said, this is not enough. Where's the test? Oh, I bought 2 expensive cell phones for my boyfriend and bought him pants and shirts. We made her sign a confession, but I said, I'm not going to turn this over to the police. You're very young. You still have a whole life ahead of you. Just don't do it again. If I ever learn that you've done it again, I'll turn this over to the police. But of course, I never saw her again. I'm sure she went away as far away as possible.
Question that is a little bit controversial. Can you muscle test a woman if she's virgin?
You can muscle test anything and everything. All you have to do is make a declarative statement. Aloy, come forward. Maloy is still a virgin? No. She has 2 kids. Yes, you can. I wonder why they did not bring the chili peppers. Yeah. Okay. Well, this afternoon, what I would like to do, when we talk about diabetes, I want all of you to check your blood sugar. Fasting blood sugar this morning and current sugar. And then all of us, not just the ones with poor cardiac output, all of us will eat the red chili peppers. Then after that, check to see what your sugar is. To see if it has come down because of the red chili peppers. Huh? In fact, I would like to divide you into two groups. One will take the red chili peppers to see if the sugar comes down. The other group will take 2 tablespoons of raw pork pancreas to see if the sugar comes down. Because in both groups, the sugar should come down. Because the raw pork pancreas are very rich in natural insulin. I see it all the time. Cure people of insulin dependency. Like the governor in the Mountain Province, he had 2 insulin shots a day, 2 diabetic oral drugs a day. His sugar never fell below 600. The very day he took the raw pork pancreas without the insulin shots, his sugar became completely normal. And you already know about those 2 women with the blurry eyesight. In 5 minutes, the one with 360 sugar, it became 78. The one with 320, it became 76. So, we divide ourselves into 2 groups. One will take the raw pork pancreas, and the other the red silig na buyog, and compare which brought the sugar down faster and to what extent. Then, we will change so that the ones who took the red silis will now take the raw pork pancreas, and vice versa, to see to see if your sugar will come down some more, and to see if it will go below the normal, so that you become hypoglycemic. Okay? This is what we need. Food works faster and better than synthetic drugs. There was a little boy in St. Theodore's Hospital with type 1 diabetes. You know what type 1 diabetes is? Infant onset diabetes. They are born, they cannot produce insulin. Either they cannot produce insulin or they produce only very little insulin. So this boy had type 1 diabetes. He was confined in St. Theodore's Hospital for a month. The chaplain and the chief of hospital came to me after the seminar. We had a seminar in St. Mary's Cathedral. It was the only place big enough to hold all the people. He said, "Can you please take a look at this little boy?" So they told me he has 2 insulin shots a day, 2 diabetic oral drugs, but the sugar keeps fluctuating between 600 and 800. And they said he is end stage. We're just waiting for him to go. I told them there are, first, diabetes is caused by a deficiency of 6 minerals in the body. I keep saying that because my muscle testing found that out to be true. And when I muscle tested the other supposed causes of diabetes, it was false, false, false. This was the only one that came out true. So I told them, the chief of hospital, and I told the father of the boy and the chaplain, you know, there are 4 things you can do to bring down his sugar. Give him 2, but don't give him more than 2, otherwise he'll become hypoglycemic. I said, first, red silig na buyog, it will bring down his sugar, make it normal. 2, the raw pork pancreas to give him natural insulin to bring down his sugar. 3, dark green leafy vegetables, kangkong, saluyot, alugbati, talbos ng kamote, pako. They are very rich in the same 5 minerals to bring down the blood sugar. All of them will do it in 5 minutes. And then the 4th is the Gymnema sylvester. It doesn't put in shape the insulin being produced by the beta cells in the pancreas. You see, these 5 minerals make the insulin potent. Right now they're impotent. But because the body has the pancreas producing and overproducing insulin, it wears down the beta cells producing insulin. Well, the Genema sylvester will regenerate the beta cells producing the insulin. But in the case of this boy, he is not producing any. I muscle tested, his insulin production was only 15%. So I said, give him any tool before. It's very big before red ceiling nebuyo or raw pork pancreas, the dark green leafy vegetables, and the food supplements corresponding to these 6 minerals. I said, don't give him more than 2 of these 4. But the father said, no, I want to give him all 4. No, because the boy was dying. The father was desperate. I want to give him all 4. The chief of hospital said, what? How can you give red chili peppers to a 4-year-old boy? I said to the chief of hospital, hey, don't say that. How do you know? Because I already had the experience of that 4-year-old boy from Isabela who got well from tetralogy of Fallot taking red chili peppers. I said, don't project your negative attitude into this boy. That's how you feel. But how do you know about this boy? So they gave him all 4. The next day, the chief of hospital called me. You know, to my surprise, that boy loves red chili peppers. 3 days later, the chief of hospital calls me again and says, he fainted. I said, yeah, he became hypoglycemic. He fainted. He said, but you know, the whole staff of the hospital and the whole family rejoiced because he broke through the 600 barrier in his blood sugar. Because when we become hypoglycemic, it's so easy. Just give 1 teaspoon of sugar and you're okay again. Anyway, by the end of the week, his sugar was stable at 77. So they sent him home. And here was this boy who was dying. And all the drugs in the world could not save him. Okay, so we'll be discussing diabetes. You'll be muscle testing yourselves after this. And it's good. It's a good time to take the red ceiling nebuyo because your stomachs will be full. You will not get a stomach ache. Okay, enjoy your lunch. I'll go and have mine myself.